Hi students, welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm broadcasting this IELTS lesson to you from Budapest, the capital city of Hungary, situated on the two sides of the Danube River. Alright, today IELTS speaking part 3, December 1st, 2018. Materials coming from our websites. aehelp.com for academic IELTS. The URL's here. I'm just writing it here so you can see it throughout the lesson. And for general IELTS, it's at ieltshelp.com, where we have 6 full practice exams, fully interactive course, over 100 hours of video lessons, lots and lots and lots of help for you to get your needed band scores the next time you sit the IELTS. Spend a little money to save a lot so you don't have to do the IELTS again and again. Also, get rid of that stress and that frustration. Today's class is a members chat class. So for all of you watching, if you're not able to write into the chat, it's because this is a members chat class. We have one of these classes each week right now. It's one of the advantages of being a member. Hi Preeti, hi Naveen. Good to see some of those members joining in. And members also get access to 6 of our exams and can request these classes and get access to some private videos. Also, you can download our app, Academic IELTS Help, from your iTunes or Play Store. And until Sunday, until tomorrow, we still have the Cyber Monday discount. It's the best discount we have in the year. Cyber Monday, 40% discount. The code is Cyber Day. So if you go to our website and you use Cyber Day, then you will get that discount. Hi Kesey, good to see you in this members class. Hi Naveen, yes, I still am getting over this cold. You might hear it in my voice, so if I start to stuff up or cough a little bit, my apologies in advance. I've done everything I can to avoid this, including eating copious amounts of cough candy. All right, if you have questions about IELTS, members, always, if you have questions or you have requests for these classes, Adrian at aehelp.com. So Kisi, Preeti, if you want to request a class in the future, a topic for task 2 or speaking, just send me an email, Adrian at aehelp.com. Naveen, I know you know how to do this because you request topics. That's great. All right, so tomorrow we are doing video editing, no class on Monday or Tuesday, and then we're back on the 5th with a task 2 example essay explaining the strategy on how to answer an open question and give an opinion. It's a type of task 2 we haven't talked about. Then we'll do speaking part 2 on the 6th. On the 7th, it's not true that we have no class. We'll do some reading strategy there. And then we'll have another members class with further reading of matching people that was requested by one of our members, where they said, I have trouble with matching people type questions. So we'll do that on the 8th. Okay, here's the schedule until the 15th. You can check that out. I'll post that on the channel as well. And today I decided to do a little bit more speaking with our members. I know you like doing this, members, and I think it's important. So for everybody that's watching, please do repeat me nice and loud. So repeat aloud, okay? Hear yourself speak, repeat my pronunciation, repeat my intonation and my enunciation. Especially students who are in India. I know we have a lot of viewers in India, which is great. I've noticed that you really need to focus, a lot of you, on good intonation. So rather than trying to speak super fast and just talking about a lot of different ideas and talking about a lot of different things and different points and different topics, instead of doing this, because this is not the way native English speakers talk naturally, try to intonate more. So have a more up and down inflection and deflection for your voice, okay? So focus on that. All right. So, members, today focus is part 3 speaking. I know some students have exams this week, so it's a good topic for everyone. When you go to your speaking interview, members, help me out here. What should you do? Hi, Baljit. What should you do? So, what is a good way to be ready on the day of your speaking interview? How should you plan that day? What should you plan to do in the 12 to 24 hours leading up to your speaking interview day? So, for example, for students who have speaking interviews coming up, you should be thinking about this now. So, what should you do? And this can be the difference of a whole band. So if you're about to get band 6, you might be able to get band 7 if you just follow these instructions. So make sure, and I know it's difficult when you're stressed, students, but make sure to get a good night's sleep the day before your interview. Okay, how do you do that? Eat healthy, not too much sugar, not too much caffeine. And do cardio exercise. Okay? Go for a jog, a long walk, a swim. All right? So that's the day before. All right? So go for a walk, go for a jog, go for a swim, get tired so that you can go to sleep because you have test anxiety, you're stressed. Be active the day before your speaking interview so you can get a good night's rest, okay? Wake up 3 hours before your speaking interview starts, okay? That's very important. A lot of you may or may not know this, but it takes about 3 hours for the human brain in the morning to reach its peak performance. Okay, that's why big companies, big businesses that know this fact, they like to put their meetings at 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning because they know that that's when their employees' brains are the most focused, their thoughts are the best, they're the fastest, their critical thinking is at the top. So wake up 3 hours before you're speaking. That means if you have a speaking interview at 9 a.m., you should be getting up at around 6 a.m. and you should try to go to bed early, okay? So your brain is at its maximum performance. So wake up 3 hours before you're speaking. And very importantly, go to the speaking test center 1 hour before your interview starts, okay? Now, I know some members already know this, but it's really good review, okay? Baljit says at least 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes is good. Even 1 hour before. Don't drink too much caffeine, Baljit, is good advice as well. And even 1 hour before so that you can walk around, get familiar with the environment, get familiar with the building, know where the washroom is so you're not searching for it in the last minute. And then, of course, find other candidates who are there for speaking. Take questions with you and ask them to practice. Okay? They will like you for this. They might become your new best friend. They'll appreciate you. Okay? So Preeti, Kisi, make sure you do this, all right? I think Baljit and Naveen have already heard this advice. So take some speaking questions with you. Don't be shy because you will have to speak to an examiner anyway. So you need to be confident. It's a good way to build your confidence is to go up to a stranger that obviously looks like they're there for the speaking interview and say, "Excuse me," in English, okay? So you shouldn't be approaching them in your own language. So you shouldn't be using Mandarin or Hindu or Punjabi or German, French, Portuguese. You should be using English. Approach them and say, "Excuse me." And if they answer in English, if they say yes, You're probably on the right track, okay? And then you say, I'm here for IELTS speaking. Are you here for an IELTS speaking interview by chance? And they'll probably say, yes, I am. And then you can say, would you mind practicing some questions and answers with me? I brought some papers with me. My teacher told me this will really help our band score. Definitely do that. So many times I'm doing practice speaking interviews with students, and in the beginning, in part 1 and part 2, they're kind of slow. I could tell they're rusty. They're not really warmed up. And by the time they get to part 3, their English starts to get really nice and fluent. And their ideas become quite clear and accurate. They come up with good words. But that's the end of the speaking interview. And I'm kind of like, too bad you didn't do that for part 1 and 2, because you would probably have like a band 7.5 instead of a 6. But of course, the examiner will not tell you that, okay? They'll just mark you down. So warm up your brain, warm up your English speaking before you start your exam, and do that with somebody else. And they're going to love you for it because, hey, you just helped that person that might not realize this also get a higher score. Hi, Farheen, good to see you in class. All right. So that's some really important advice, okay? And the reason I decided to go over this again today is because I know a lot of students are doing IELTS exams in the coming week. Okay, so then you start your speaking, and it has 3 parts. The examiner will give you instructions for each part. For part 1, they will want to get to know you a little bit better. They will ask for your full name. So the first question, you should be prepared for this. You should have a very good answer for this, is what is your full name? And members, here's your chance to shine. So give me your answers, members. You have all of my attention, so I will most likely be able to cover all of your answers and give you corrections and feedback. So the examiner says, what is your full name? Having a good answer ready here also builds your confidence, because you know, hey, I'm ready for this one. I know I have a good answer for it, so I'm confident. Okay. All right. Let's see some responses. I'll write something up while you're writing, members. Okay, and then we'll match, compare, contrast our answers. Okay, so nice and loud, members. Let's repeat each other. I'll do some corrections. So Baljit says, my family name is Singh and my given name is Baljit. Please call me by my last name. So you want me to call you Singh, Baljit, because last name in English is usually your family name. Okay, so in English, your name would usually be Baljit Singh. So if you want me to call you Singh, that's okay. Just make sure you realize that that's what you're asking me to do. Okay, Naveen says, my full name is Naveen Kumar and my surname is Khanna. You can just call me Naveen. Okay, that's good. Yeah, Baljit, family name is fine. I just wanted to make sure that you know that last name does mean your family name or surname. Okay. Preeti says, my surname is Sina and my given name is Preeti. Please just refer to me as Preeti. Okay, very good, Preeti. That's nice, clear. Okay. Kisi says, my full name is Kisi Zhang. You can call me Kisi. Good. It's clear. Okay. This is mine here. Repeat after me nice and loud. Now focus on my intonation, students. Okay, so focus on the flow of my language. My family name is Smith and my given name is Franklin, but most people just call me Frankie. Please refer to me by this nickname. All right. So then the examiner will ask you 1 or 2 icebreaker questions. And something like this. How do you like to get around? Go from one not page, go from one place to another. Okay. So how do you like to get around? Go from one place to another. All right. So answer that question for me, students. Give me a nice, complete answer here. All right. So still just warming up. Okay. Parth, good to see you jumping in here. My surname is Desai, my given name is Parth, but my friends refer to me as PD. Please just call me PD. Okay, good, that'll work. All right, so the question, how do you like to get around? Go from one place to another. Give me a nice answer for this, students. All right. So let's see what you have. Farheen Bagoom says, I like to travel by car because I can enjoy the trip with my family. Good, Farheen. Give me a little bit more. So, Farheen, give me a little bit more details. Where do you travel with your family? Like, for example, taking your children to school, or do you mean actually visiting relatives in other parts of your city, or perhaps other cities, or just to go sightseeing, or go out to a restaurant? So what do you mean by you like to travel with by car with your family? And then even give me a little bit about your car. So I drive a Nissan something, or I drive a Mazda 3. It's a very spacious car. It has a good sound system, so it's quite enjoyable to commute by driving. Okay, so give me a little bit more about that situation, and then your score will go up. Okay, a little bit more detail. And of course, you can throw in an example. I had a very relaxing drive over here this morning to the exam. I listened to some music to calm my nerves for this speaking test while paying attention to the road. Okay, so something like that, Farheen. A little bit more. Express yourself. Give me that rounded answer. Okay, meanwhile, repeat after me, students. So, how do you like to get around, go from one place to another? I generally commute to and fro on foot. I mean that most places I need to get to are near my home, so simply walking is not only convenient, but also it is my daily exercise. In fact, I was able to walk to this exam center in just under half hour, as it is not too far from my flat. Okay. So one more time, nice and loud, students. I generally commute to and fro on foot. I mean that most places I need to get to are near my home, so simply walking is not only convenient, but also it's my daily exercise. In fact, I was able to walk to this exam center in just under half an hour, as it's not too far from my flat. All right. So again, remember, repeat the questions and the answers nice and loud, students. Kisi, Preeti, Baljit, Naveen, you still thinking about your answer? Don't think too much. You don't have that much time in the IELTS. Don't try to make it perfect, students. Just get it out. Okay, just get it out. You can work on polishing and perfecting your answers after. And don't forget, this lesson will be on the channel. So even if you make lots of mistakes, you will have a chance to review what I correct and your answer later on. So don't try to make it too perfect. I know we have pride, but again, in the real exam, you don't have all the time in the world because you need to be fluent. All right, Baljit, thanks for the heads up. I'm waiting for you. Okay, I'll give you a couple more seconds, members, before we move on to the next question. Just don't want to really jump ahead of you. Again, think of what, why, and how. So maybe I'll give you a little bit more help here. So think of how do you get around? So how do you go from one place to another place? Why do you do this? And give me an example of when you just did this. Okay? So Preeti says, I usually like to travel by bike because I live in the countryside and it's far from the urban areas. My daughter's school and office is in the city, so I pedal my bicycle. How long does it take you, Preeti? How long does it take to go with your bike from where you live to the city or to the urban areas? How long does that take you, Preeti? You want to add that. No, Baljit, I wouldn't do that. So, Baljit, you're saying, I would say, well, it depends. Sometimes I go on foot, sometimes I drive. You could do that, Baljit. You can. But it's an easy way to spread your ideas too broad, get lost, and instead of giving me more detailed depth, instead of giving me more specific concepts, you're just naming different concepts and using less language or less quality of language. So it's better to just pick one, focus on it, and go into more detail. Better. So Preeti, it's 8 kilometers. Okay, good. How long does that take you, Preeti? How long does it actually take you by bike to go 8 kilometers from your place to the school or to the office? Answer that one more question for me. Yeah, you could do that, Baljit. So it depends if it's raining or if it's nice and sunny. But I personally, Baljit, wouldn't go down that road, especially not for a warm-up question, okay? So remember, these are just icebreakers. You want to answer them clear, clean, relatively fast, and giving a good example to back it up. So Preeti, that distance and the time is what you want to include in your answer for quantitative language. So counting numbers, something that's the same for you and I both. We both understand the same distance at 8 kilometers, and we both understand the 20 minutes because of the highway. So combine those two pieces, add it to your answer, and it will be a band better. Okay, so for your first answer, you'll get a band 7. For your second answer, you get a band 8. So if your answer is, I usually like to travel by bike because I live in the countryside and it's 8 kilometers from the urban area where my daughter's school and office are. So I usually travel there pedaling my bicycle. It takes me about 20 minutes because I can get on the highway, which is quite fast. That, Preeti, will get you a band 9. Hi, welcome, Vanity Sean. We have a new member joining in. That's great. Always love to see new members. Vanity, if you're hearing me, make sure to send me an email so I can hook you up with our perks, our practice exams. You should be able to get into this live chat now. If you can't, you might need to restart your browser, log back into your Google account, your Gmail account, and then you should be able to join into this live chat and give your answers, okay? Vanity, Sean? So welcome aboard. Glad to have you. All right, Preeti, good work. Let's get to our part 3 questions, ladies and gents. Let's get to these part 3 questions. Okay, so of course you'll have about 4 or 5 more questions for part 1. They will be on some kind of a general topic like going to meetings, going to school, building things with your hands, so something like that. Then you'll have a part 2 Many of you know what that's about. You get a little card with 4 or 5 questions. You have 1 minute to read those questions and then answer those questions. You're very welcome, Preeti. That's why I'm here, and that's one of the advantages of being a member for these members chat classes. Absolutely. So you get that card. You have 1 minute to prepare. You speak for 2 minutes, and then after your 2 minutes speaking is up, then the examiner will ask you more questions connected to that topic. Now, some of you probably remember that a few classes ago, not so long ago, I believe earlier in the week, 4 days ago, maybe, we had a part 2 speaking that was about an appointment that you had to cancel or that you had to change, right? So do you remember that one? Were some of you members in for that class where you had to cancel or change an appointment? I even gave you a homework exercise for that, right? That was the part 2, Baljit. I think you were in that class, Baljit. And we talked about canceling a dentist appointment or a doctor's appointment or canceling a trip or a date with a girlfriend or a boyfriend. So that was the topic of part 2. Now, we will continue with part 3. So part 3, I will ask you more questions connected to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about time management. Okay, thanks, Preeti, for that correction. So let's talk about time management. Here we go. Get ready. So for part 3, here is some advice, okay? Answer what, why, and give an example. Use conjunctions and quantitative language. So let's focus on this, students. All right, focus on these points. We'll do it in real time, so I'll help you with this and correct as we go along. All right, let's talk about time management. What are the advantages and disadvantages of scheduling activities in a calendar? So think about this one, students. What are the advantages and disadvantages of scheduling activities in a calendar? In a calendar, okay? So it means that you basically keep a log of what you need to do, what you plan to do. You should immediately visualize this. If you're the kind of person who does this, great. If you're the kind of person who doesn't do this, that's also okay. You just need to think about the advantage and the disadvantage. There's both. There's always advantage. There's always 2 sides to every story. So think about what you can respond. Now, of course, as many of you know here, if you're like, well, I can't answer that question. Come on, that's such a difficult question. Yeah, okay. What should you do? You should buy time, okay? So you should say, that's an interesting question. I need to think about that for a moment. So what you are asking are the benefits and negatives of keeping a day plan. Well, there are some clear advantages, such as, so notice that I'm speaking quite a bit here, 3 sentences. I really haven't said much, but it's nice fluent English, and I'm really buying some great time here to think about my answer. That's an interesting question. I need to think about that for a moment. Then my paraphrase. So what you're asking are the benefits and negatives of keeping a day plan. Well, there are some clear advantages, such as what, students? okay? I'm going to write my answer. Do the same. So write your answers, students. I will read your answers and I will correct. You don't have to write your full answer all in one block. You can write it in multiple blocks. Just start speaking, start thinking. Say what you're writing nice and loud. So practice your speaking, not just your thinking and your typing, okay? Practice your speaking. So say it as you type, all right? All right. So Baljit says, well, I believe the most obvious perks of having a planned schedule are that number one, a person can stick to their goals of the day or week, so there's no chance of forgetting a task. Baljit, really nice language. Good for you. You've really improved a lot through these months that you've been a student of mine. And I'm very proud of your English and how much it's developed. You're using a much broader range of vocabulary. You're using it effectively. Your grammar has become very clear. Just make sure to practice a lot of speaking. Practice that nice, natural intonation. And as long as you can apply this solid grammar and vocabulary that you've developed over the months, you will get a fantastic score on your IELTS. Not only that, you'll be very successful with it in your day-to-day life and in your future plans, I'm sure. So good for you, Baljit. I'm very, very proud of you, and I mean that in the most genuine sense, okay? So obvious perks, really nice English expression there. Having a planned schedule, very nice way to express that. Sticking to goals, a very nice idiom or expression there. So very good. Good for you, Baljit. Absolutely fantastic. All right. While I'm waiting for the other students, this is my answer here. So that's an interesting question. I need to think about that for a moment. So what you're asking are the benefits and negatives of keeping a day plan. Well, there's some clear advantages, such as being more efficient and having opportunities for unique events. What I mean is, if I want to go to a concert, I need to plan ahead, as tickets will sell out. Just this last month, I went to a Rolling Stones concert, and I had to plan like 6 months in advance to get my ticket. However, the negative side to being overly time organized is life becomes predictable and boring. So don't forget that second part of the answer, Baljit. Okay? Preeti says, scheduling tasks in a calendar is definitely advantageous because it allows a person to complete all tasks on time. Okay, watch the corrections here, Preeti, one more time. Scheduling tasks in a calendar is definitely advantageous because it allows a person to complete tasks on time, and there's no chance to forget any work. For instance, I scheduled 15 days IELTS module for each day of the month, and my studies are very efficient, and I can track my improvement. Very good, Preeti. Again, if you didn't catch all that, Preeti, don't worry. The video will be up later, so you'll be able to review and repeat these corrections, okay? Kisi Says, I suppose it's convenient to schedule activities. Remember, Kesey, your gerunds and infinitives. It's usually to schedule or just scheduling, right? So I suppose it is convenient to schedule activities in a calendar in order to help people improve their management skills in case they are frequently missing activities. For instance, my cousin is really bad at being punctual. Punctual means being on time. However, just this last month, he started using Google Calendar, and now he's got much better. All right, Kesey, so throw that example in there. Make it up. Practice that creative thinking in real time, okay? Otherwise, a really good response, or really good start to that response. And now, again, don't forget the second half of the question, students. So what are the disadvantages? I know it sounds strange because people are like, oh, there's no disadvantage to putting everything in a calendar. And I put everything into a calendar, and I know it drives my wife crazy that everything is scheduled in my world. So there are some negatives, okay? So Kesey says, but that may also make people stressful, like there's at least 20 tasks a day, and it's impossible to complete them all. Yeah, Kesey, that's very clever. Absolutely. If we have a lot of tasks in our calendar and we're very ambitious, then it can create stress if we don't achieve all of the tasks in our schedule. And of course, people will often feel like they're rushing and they're not living in the moment, but they're always living in the future because they're thinking about what they need to do next. So life can become quite hectic. That's right, Baljeet. Nice word, hectic. Good for you. Smart thinking, students. Nice responses. All right. Fantastic. Brilliant. That's one of the other advantages of these live classes is you get a lot of good ideas being generated, and in case you do have these questions on your next IELTS exam, you will be ready for them. Baljeet says, the disadvantages. Life can become hectic. For example, I had to rush to the hospital to catch my appointment with the dentist at 6:30, but I got stuck in traffic on the way, and this created a lot of stress throughout my whole day. Okay? Baljeet, yeah, perfect. Absolutely. Very good. Great example. Okay. Here we go. Next question, students. Let's rock and roll. Repeat after me. How have ways people remind themselves of their appointments changed from one generation before? So how have ways people remind themselves of their appointments changed from one generation before? Now, in IELTS, if you ever have these comparative or time comparative questions like this one, okay, so time comparative questions. Let's take some notes on it. And IELTS likes these types of questions. So how has it changed from the past to today? How will it change from today to the future? Then in these questions, that's right, Baljeet, one of your go-to answers is always technology. Technology is changing, and technology is changing our lives. So that's a very good, quick first thought. So time comparative questions. So comparing the past to today or today to the future. Just a little bit smaller. Today to the future. Okay, so that kind of a question is quite popular. Two really good tips for everybody who's watching for these ones. Number one, technology is a great quick thought here. Is often, I won't say always, but often a very good topic answer. And This is usually a present perfect question and answer. Okay, so what that means, and it's true in this case as well, so what that means is when the examiner is asking you about comparing today to before or today to tomorrow, then today to before will be present perfect and to tomorrow will be future. Okay, participle will. So make sure that you include that in your answer, all right? Very, very important. So it works in this situation as well. So this is a present perfect, and using technology in your answer is simple, quote unquote simple, and good. So go ahead, students, answer this question. How have ways people remind themselves of their appointments changed from one generation before? Okay, I'll write up my answer while you're thinking about that. Again, make sure you use present perfect and think about technology, and then we'll compare. All right, let's see what kind of answers our students came up with. While I'm waiting for that, I'll give you my answer. I think the most obvious way this has changed is through advancements in technology, namely software like Google Calendar and hardware like smartphones. Rather than the old school method of writing our schedule into a day planner with a pen, these days we just record it into our phone and get a notification on the day of the event. I use this for my school assignments all the time, right? Now, if you want to keep talking a little bit, you could say conversely, I remember my dad would always have his leather day planner and jot down his daily activities. Okay, so you can add that in. Baljit says, well, that's an interesting question. I believe technology has greatly influenced the way people set reminders nowadays as compared to 5 or 6 decades ago. I remember my grandpa had a mechanical clock which reminded him of events. It had a neat multi-alarm function. Okay, something like that, sure. Just don't forget, Baljit, to emphasize what's happening today, okay? But good. It's a good start, and I like how you paraphrased past generation with 5, 6 decades ago. And I see that you're continuing your answer, Baljit. But these days, I have my cell phone, and I use it to remind myself of events. That's great. Okay, again, very solid answers, Baljit. Good job. Good for you. Preeti, Naveen, Kisi, don't be shy. Throw your answers down. I'm here to help. I'm here to correct. So if you're still in there, Comment away. Don't let Baljeet hog the stage. Although I don't want to discourage you, Baljeet. You're doing a great job. So hog away if nobody else is stepping up to the plate to bat. All right. While the other students are thinking about their answers, I'm going to move on to the next question. Why is effective time management especially important in school and work? Can you give examples? So start thinking about that question, students and viewers. Meanwhile, I'll review Preeti's answer. So hi, Preeti. I think technology has changed everything, especially communication methods. Like 2 decades ago, we depended on written letters, but now we use mobile phones to drop messages for various apps like WhatsApp. Now, Preeti, you have to stay on topic. So the question is, how have ways people remind themselves of their appointments changed from one generation before? If you're not sure what the question means, Preeti, you need to paraphrase. So you need to say something like, so you're asking me about how people change the ways that they use their schedules. So, or catalog their schedules or record their schedules. So you need to try to paraphrase if you're not clear on the question. We're not just talking about communication and technology here. In fact, we're not talking about communication. We're talking about being reminded of our appointments. Appointment is an event that you have to go to, like a doctor's appointment. So that's what you need to focus on. Kisi says, it certainly has changed a lot. Not have changed, has changed, Kisi. It certainly has changed a lot. In the past, people relied on the sunset to remind themselves, but today, because of the development of high-tech gadgets like smartphones, people make appointments on time. Okay, Kisi, one generation before, so I mean, I think, you know, we're maybe jumping back to like 1980, 1970 at most. I think you're kind of jumping back to like 500 years ago with the sunset and the sunrise. Maybe even more. Clocks have been around for quite some time. So careful to pay attention to the details, Kisi, of the question. The examiner will dock you marks. So even though I understand what you mean that people relied on the sunset, I would say, oh, you didn't understand this part of the question, that it's one generation before. So in part 3, you really have to pay attention to all parts of the question. And don't take this badly, Kisi. I'm just really pushing you to make sure that you don't lose marks. Because your answer, Kisi, is a band 6.5, but I can only give you a 5 because only a part of your answer is accurate. So even though your language is a 6.5, your information is a 5. So I can't give you a 6.5. I hope you understand how that works. Okay. All right, so make those corrections and practice it again. If not now, then after the class when you're looking at this video on our channel later on. Okay, so let's get on to the last set here, or the last question for this set. Why is effective time management especially important in school and work? Can you give examples? Baljeet says, well, I think students and workers stay in their workplace or establishment for a specific number of hours in the day. So they need a schedule to get tasks done on time. Baljeet, it's a good start. Okay, they also coordinate with others. So visualize, students. So visualize. When you go to school, you need to be on time because you work together with other people, right? In most situations, students, they work with others. So they work in collaboration with their teachers, their professors, and with other students. So if you do not complete your work on time as a student, if you do not keep a schedule, then you are interfering with the tasks of others, such as your professor and other students. And of course, the same is true in a workplace with colleagues, managers, and bosses, right? So visualize that. So when you picture this, you should see yourself walking into a workplace on time and everybody else is there. You're working together with them. You have a deadline. You have to finish a project. You are in charge of graphics. Let's say you're building a video game. And others are in charge of game design. You need to deliver the graphics at a certain time so that you can launch the product to meet the deadline, right? So having to work together with others makes it increasingly important to follow a schedule and have good time management skills. Visualize, students. So I'm going to write my answer up here. Don't be shy. Write your answers, students. And Baljeet, don't worry about your grammar mistakes. I'm here to correct that. Now remember, Baljeet, that grammar is spelled G-R-A-M-M-A-R. It's just a bad word to misspell. I've done that in the past as well. So I don't want to be a hypocrite. But it just looks bad to misspell the word grammar. It's G-R-A-M-M-A-R. All right. So it's showing me here that my stream is really slowed down. Can you still hear me, see me okay, students? Stream health is quite poor. I'm not sure, maybe we have lack of connection problems, but if you can still hear me or see me okay, let me know. It's just on my side, it's giving me this big red line saying that the video output is low. You're having trouble seeing me. So let me know if that's true. I've put my answer up here. I'll keep talking meanwhile. Let's look at Preeti's answer. So Preeti says, time management plays a disciplinary role in school and work because if we complete work in a stipulated time, it gives rewards and increases reputation in the office. For instance, last month, I completed a major architectural design 1 month ahead of the soft deadline, and I was rewarded with a $10,000 bonus. Preeti, that's a really clever answer. I like the idea of disciplinary role. That was brilliant, okay? That was good. Kisi says, school and work are the place that needs cooperation and skills, so everyone needs to follow a pre-arranged schedule. Last week, one of my classmates was late for 10 minutes. Because of that, the whole team could not start their task on time. Kisi, very good. I really like your addition. The 10 minutes, the quantitative language, brilliant, okay? I like it. Baljeet, the stream health is improved, so it's probably just a delay. It should be good by the time I'm saying this, okay? So Preeti says, I handed in my research on time, and my colleagues really appreciated this. Very good, Preeti. That was a great job there. All right, students, here's my example. Nice and loud. Repeat after me. Well, that's an interesting and important notion. When I think deeply about this, the reason that comes to mind is collaboration. Both in school and most workplaces, people function in teams, so it is crucial that each member of that team completes their task on time to deliver projects on a deadline. For example, I work in game design, and I had to complete graphics for a new game that we're launching next month. This was vital in order to be able to meet the launch date. All right? Good. So students, great job. Kisi, Baljit, Preeti, excellent job in this live IELTS speaking part 3 class. Here are a couple more questions for part 3. Let's talk about being organized. Some people feel it is important to have a very organized home, while others feel this is a waste of time. Why is there this difference in beliefs? What kinds of things do people need to keep organized these days that our grandparents may not have needed to worry about? If a person wants to improve their organizational skills, what can they do? Can you give some advice? All right, so these 3 questions, members, viewers, it's for homework. Follow the advice and the strategies from today's lesson. Give me your answer, record it on your phone. Please try to send it to me in an MP3 format so it's easy for me to listen to on the computer. And I will give you a free score estimate. I'll let you know what you would probably get for that, and maybe even a tip or two, given I have enough time, of how to improve your speaking score. So that's your homework. Members, excellent job in today's class. Again, don't forget, everybody who's watching, Cyber Monday deal ends tomorrow. Best deal of the year for us. 40% discount on our website. Use the code CYBERDAY, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Farheen, late action on your response, but I will read it. Time management is so vital to boost energy and give strength. Although there's some negative points while completing work, I usually give a preference. Farheen, good effort. There's some grammatical problems in there. Need to revise. Send me an email. I'll help you out, Farheen, okay? So send me some answers, Farheen, in an email, and I'll help you out. Okay, ladies and gents. Great job. I will catch you on Wednesday for our next class. That will be task 2 writing, strategy with example, an open question with an opinion. So that will be Wednesday's class. No class tomorrow or Monday and Tuesday. We are creating some new high definition pre-recorded videos for you to learn from and enjoy, and to help you improve your band scores. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Have a great start to your week. Much love to all of you. Keep up the good work, and your hard work will bear sweet fruits. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. Bye for now.